Okay, so this is exercise number 4 on the next page, top of page 7. This is an arpeggio exercise, very straightforward because you're holding chord shapes and playing notes out of the shapes. So with this, and he's giving you 2 ways of picking it. Let me just play the notes first. Bottom 4 strings of the G chord. When we go to D next, we play the top 4 strings starting with the bass. These are all starting with the bass note, by the way. G note starting. And when you go to D, you start with a D note. When you go to C, you're going to play the middle 4 strings because the bass note is on the A string. When you go back to G, go back to the bottom string because that's your G bass note. Context with a meter attached to it sounds like 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and this was all down picks. He gives you the option to down pick. Or to alternate pick. I would do both for sure because alternate picking is this is what they call cross picking, which is cross picking strings while alternating. This is sweep picking. When you go across, with one in one direction. Cross picking is going like, whoops. I'm not used to cross picking arpeggios, but I am used to doing little things like that's down, up, sweep picking would be one direction. So the exercise with cross picking or alternate picking, as they outlined it, is 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and down, up, down, up. The other thing to remember, this is a shortcut for you that they don't explain in the book, which is extremely important though, is you're playing a sequence of notes, so you're going to be going, as you build speed, you're going to be concerned with changing chords and getting to the next chord while keeping the flow. But the important thing to remember is you've got one note of time to get your hands in position. What that means is if you're going from G to D, I got an open string to hit while my other fingers are getting into place. So if you focus on my fretting hand for a second, of this guy, you'll see same. You notice how the other fingers came down a split second later?
Yes, yes.
D string down, root note down with the other guys, root note down with the other guys. Does that make sense?
Almost.
I can do it slower.
Okay.
And otherwise you'd be thinking like this. I gotta be down all at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Slowly.
Got that, yes.
Again, one note, drop. One note, drop the other guys. It'll make more sense the more you do it.
Okay.
Okay, on to the next one. In exercise number 5, this is the Diatonic Triads in G. This is, as we talked about before, if you play a single note G scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and G on one string, it sounds like this. Same thing, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So if you played a triad, which is composed of a root, third, and fifth of the scale notes in G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 3, 5, 1. Don't need to worry about that so much, but basically we're harmonizing the scale we played over 3 strings instead of 1. So if we play this, we'll get a major triad shape on the top 3 strings is 3, 3, and 4 fretted notes. A minor triad is taking that first finger and flattening it at 5 with no second finger for a minor triad sound. Then you move it up to B minor. Don't worry about the phone, just playing it to get you the pitch notes. And you kind of hear the sound. Then we're back to a major triad at the 8th fret for a C chord. D chord at the 10th fret, same major triad shape. E minor flattened shape only at the 12th fret. Then this funny little guy, second finger at 14, first at 13, third finger at 14 on the top 3 strings, and lastly the G major triad at the 15th fret with that second finger included. So difference between major and minor triad shapes is that, which is why we have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major, and he tells you the chords above there too: G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, F sharp diminished, G, and he gives you, this is a sweep picking exercise from a right hand technique point of view. So you're doing the all one direction picking. If you feel like cross picking it, you can too. You know, but don't worry about speed. Smoothness is the most important thing. The second to last one, exercise number 6, is the hammer-on lick. This is back in our A minor pentatonic box, which is connected to this bar chord shape, either major or minor, and the scale that we were familiar with, that bluesy scale, minor pentatonic in A. And what they're doing, instead of picking all the notes, is playing the first note of each double note that you have for each string on the 5th fret and hammering the second of each note like this. Go to the next, and the same, like that. So again, what we talked about earlier before we were recording with the video, you want to, I like the mosquito analogy, that there's no way the mosquito is really going to be under that particular guitar at any moment in time. But I like thinking about it because it polishes up my intent. Otherwise, if you're too quiet, you lose the volume, or dead. We don't want that. We don't want West Nile. We want guitar sound. Right? You don't have to manhandle it, but just be firm in your tension. And the opposite, they don't put in the book, but which I encourage you doing, is going the opposite way with pull-offs, like this. That's playing the higher of the 2 notes on the string and pulling diagonally towards the floor. If you pulled off the front of the guitar like that, no volume, nothing. But if you pull that way, you generate a sound. Same. You have to remember to have that finger there ready to catch it. Otherwise, oops, we've got to move the index finger over. Move it on, move the index. Put it on, move the index. Pull, like that. Very useful both ways. The last exercise, number 7, is this one is this was about the pivot finger, or anchor finger we called it. You don't see this when you have a 3-finger G chord because the B string is open, but when this is one of the reasons I like the 4-finger G chord. I like the sound. This is okay. A little bit more folky sounding, but this is also convenient because when you go to D, you don't have to lift off this finger on the D chord going from G, and that's the whole point of that exercise, as he outlines in there. So if you think about it, I think about leaving that anchored, moving these as a pair of a pinchers almost, and then lifting that pinky off. So you basically are moving 2, lifting 1, staying 1. So it sounds like 1, 2, 3. Gotta move all of them for G. Gotta move them all back to G. Sorry, gotta move them all to C from D. So it's like G. Keep 1, move 2, lift 1, move to C, move to G. Okay?